we've got here is Thread Crate. And I'm so excited because I'm going to take this box and I'm going to do something different with it. Editing Ankharet here. I wanted to make it abundantly clear that I am not being paid by Thread Crate to advertise their product. I wanted you to know that this is the first time that I have actually subscribed to a monthly subscription for an art anything. And I was curious about the box and I wanted to kind of see what that was going to be like. Of course, I am an artist, a history bounder, and a recreationist. I'm also a costumer. So I wanted to see what they provided and then see what I could make from that product that fit my aesthetic and fit my artistic endeavors. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, that little bell icon so you can get all the notifications for my future postings. Also, if you would like to donate to my Ko-fi account, that really helps me buy subscription boxes, buy products, buy things that you can see me make stuff from. And also my Patreon account. For those that are paid subscribers, there's a lot of behind the scenes content that I am posting that if you go over there and join that group, you can see all that content too. So I look forward to see you on all the platforms, Instagram, Ko-fi, Patreon, and Facebook. Have a beautiful day and let's get creating. Let's just do the art. Okay. So it comes with bright red tissue paper. Lovely. Okay, we have a baggie that says makers gonna make. That's handy. It's kind of nice. Okay. We have a teacup, looks like. That is adorable. A tape measure teacup. Isn't that cute? Not gonna make anything out of that, but I'll probably drink some tea with it. Bobbin saver, I have no idea what I'm gonna use that for. The Thread Crate explanation of what is in everything. Perfect. A pattern bomber jacket PDF plotting where you can order the things. Oh, it comes with oh, this is adorable. This is a Thread Crate fabric care instructions. Wash cold with light colors, low, medium heat. Iron low, pressing cloth if needed. Isn't that adorable? It's a cute little card. It's actually a pretty good idea to have that in the box. Okay, it looks like we have a really long silver zipper and a really long rainbow zipper. Some iron-on interfacing. It looks like it's a pre-cut square of some kind. Fabric. Yay. So this fabric is a Ponte fabric. Ponte is a double knit fabric that is great for garments that require structure. 65.5% rayon, 29.5% nylon, and 5% spandex. So whatever I make out of this, I have to put a lining in it because this should not touch my skin because I will probably break out in a rash. Spandex is one of those fibers that I will break out with. I do get really itchy. I have a couple pairs of workout pants that have spandex and nylon in them, and I don't wear them very often because it causes massive itching around my hips and the inner thigh, which is really not comfortable. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it in the packaging, but it is a solid black, and black is universal and black is perfect. It's not telling me how much yardage is in here. And it's heavy, it's definitely a knit. And it's 4-way stretch. So I am not used to making things with knit stretchy fabric. So this will be a challenge, and it has to be lined, and I don't own any kind of knit fabric to line it with, so it's going to be lined in a cotton probably, or linen, just so that I have something and it's not going to go back in that bag that way. It's going to have to be lined. I can't have that up against my skin. So, put it bag in its baggie, and ta-da! And then this box also came with little goodies. And it comes with a needle, and I believe the needle is a ballpoint needle, which is exactly right for this fabric. It comes in its own little envelope, like that. Interestingly, I can't feel the needle. There it is. It's all the way at the bottom. A keychain, which is cute. Handmade with love buttons. Nice. It comes with some polyester black thread, which is pretty awesome because I don't own any polyester thread at all. So I'll need that for the project. It's got these thread savers, which I'll probably use these for the polyester thread they gave me because I don't own any polyester thread. And clips to go in my clip collection. So that's everything I got in this project. With 3 yards of this black, I can make exactly what I kind of have in mind. And it's gonna be a secret, so I'm gonna share it with you when I make the thing. Take my Victorian bodice pattern, the one that I made my frozen outfit, my green bodice, my blue bodice, and I am going to make it longer. I'm going to cut it out of this minion fabric, which is a 100% cotton quilting fabric that I bought a while ago for interlinings. And I'm going to I'm going to copy this pattern in paper, and then I'm going to make a draft out of this, and I'm going to pin it to my dress form and try it on and see how it fits, and kind of play with the draping on it, because the fabric that I'm going to use for this came out of a thread crate, as well as this velvet velour stuff that I've had forever. This is a skirt. I'm actually wearing the blouse. They actually don't go together. I bought them as 2 separate things, and they are all nylon. And, well, nylon, rayon, polyester, yeah. So I'm wearing this one, but I've got an undershirt on, so that I have very little of it touching my skin because I break out. But that's the other reason I don't wear this very often, is it's itchy. It's also really hot. This velveteen velour-y stuff is hotter than Hades. So the idea behind this project is I want to make a lined jacket out of a modern fabric in a historical type structure. I probably won't wear it except in the dead of winter, maybe. It's plastic, basically. All the fabric is plastic. I already have it. I've already purchased it. I've already had it. There's no need for me not to use it, and I am upcycling. So this is just an idea to give you an idea for things that you can do to upcycle your fabrics. And that's kind of the inspiration behind the art, is let's use what we have. Let's not go buy anything new. I did do the thread crate, but that was more curiosity's sake, and I wanted to make something that was historically inspired out of the thread crate. So The first try-on had mostly to do with getting rid of those hip flares. When I extended the pattern, I didn't narrow any of the angles, and I knew that was going to be a problem, so I put it on and then adjusted the hip flare. This is what I've got. I've got my template over my bodice because this is a really good example of what it's got to fit over. I had to take out probably about 3-4 inches at the bottom on this particular piece because, oh no, this piece right here. No, I had it right, this piece. Because this piece had been given quite a bit of flare out this way to go over the hip and give it kind of a nice poof at the bottom when I wear my bodices. But because this is going to be longer and I want it more in that princess style of fitting and really like that flat front type look, I had to take some fabric out. The more I look at it, the more I think I'm going to take even more out. And I do think that these pieces are really a nice length, except in the back. I feel like I could probably go even a little bit lower to really reach that natural form era style. I like the top. This is going to be really easy to overlap. I'm just going to put probably, I think I'm actually going to use the zipper they gave me from the thread crate, and I'll zip it up on the inside and then button or decorative buttons. I'm not real sure. Maybe I'll just button it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of playing with it, so nothing's set in stone at this particular time in the patterning. Yeah, I think I am. I'm going to take a little bit more out of the side because it still flares. Let's see how that flares a little bit, and I don't want it to do that. I mean, it would probably help if I angled it, like had it close higher and then angled down in the back, which I might do, maybe. I'm going to sit and think with it for a little bit because I've got a headache, and I don't know why I have a headache, but I'm going to go rest my eyes for a little bit before I come back to this. A couple notes of where I'm at right now. I did not count on the velvet that I'm using for the front panel on this jacket being as flimsy as it is. I just didn't count on that. So, what I've done is I have cut the same piece out of this jersey knit stuff that came in the box, and I have used it as kind of a front lining piece. So all I will need to do is create actual lining for the back pieces, and I have reinforced the connection between the two pieces by basically stitching in the ditch down these darts on the outside so I can make sure that I actually stay in the ditch. And I have attached the velvet to this stretchy fabric. I think it'll work well because the velvet and this knit stuff is all 4-way stretch. So I think it will work. It reinforces it a little bit better. It's not as flimsy. This was really, really flimsy, and I was really concerned that it was just not going to look well. What I should have done is take the black velvet off the interlining and put a piece of canvas. But I will completely confess that this is an experiment anyway, and I didn't really want to mess with washing the canvas that I have to do that. So this is what I've stuck with, and I put it in very much with all the seams finished on the inside. so that when I put the lining in the other pieces, I can just fold that lining over and cover the inside seams. That's the plan anyway. But just FYI, this recycled skirt that I am making the front panel with is a really flimsy, you know, polyester velvet. And I didn't really think about that when I put the cotton interlining. The cotton interlining was too light. But I think this will work. This gives a little bit more structure. I am going to put boning, I think, in here on the outside. But we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. But I wanted to kind of catch you up to what I've done. I have sewn both pieces. I'm clipping threads right now. And I am going to next attach the back and side pieces to the front pieces and put the shoulders together, and then I'm gonna try it on and we're gonna see where we're at, and then I have to cut the sleeves out. Now, because this is a jacket, I know that I want the lining, especially the back lining, to be more of a slippery fabric, and I happen to have some polyester actual lining material that I got really cheap a while ago for a totally different project. It is also polyester, so it kind of goes with the theme of this being a polyester jacket. But I am going to make the sleeves, I think, of this material. I'm going to go ahead and bag line the sleeves with that same slippery material, and I am not sure how I'm going to do the lining on the main part of the jacket. But we'll just plug along here and see what happens. When I put all the pieces together and put it on, I realized that the shoulders were too wide for the armscye, and I was going to have to cut the top of it off. Otherwise, the darn thing was going to slide halfway down my arm. So I had to fix that first, and I also marked the center line of where it was going to overlap so I could figure out where I was going to put buttons and buttonholes. So this is the way I try to do sleeves to make sure that I always have a right and a left. And if I lay them out this way, I've noticed that I don't put my right sleeve to my right sleeve or my left to my left, or that I end up with two right sleeves or two left sleeves, which, if you've been sewing for a while, trust me, you've had that happen. And so this is just a really easy way to make sure that I have 1 and 2 and all the pieces match and they're facing the right direction. It's just a tip that you can take with you if you like. I also try to be really careful that I pin my sleeves. In the rest of my construction, I'm pretty notorious for not always pinning everything, but sleeves that are on a curve like this, I definitely pin all the way down on that elbow side for sure, because if it does not line up, it will create problems later on. And because I know that I want to bag line the sleeves with a slippery fabric so that no matter what I wear this with, it doesn't catch. I want to make sure that everything is lined up and is exactly right, because I'm going to bag line it. And at least that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do because I'm already putting it together and I don't want to interline it. I want to keep the sleeves not bulky because I'm going to wear this obviously over something. That's one of the reasons I keep trying it on with other stuff on, is I want to make sure I have enough room in the coat. The lining material is a very slick lining material that is normally sold for that purpose, and it's really slick and it's really hard to work with, and I fought with it. I only put a snippet in here for you because I really argued with this fabric a lot. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I have bag lined the sleeve, okay, and then I took some scrap of this black stuff And I made kind of a clunky bias tape. It's not very tidy and neat, but I folded it over and sewed it down all around the armhole. And the reason I did that is because I'm really not sure what I'm going to do about the rest of this garment. I'm kind of in the place where put some faux fur on the collar instead of a standing collar. And I think that I want to put some faux fur around the cuff. I need to walk away from it for a few minutes and decide. I'm very happy with how the sleeves came out. I like that they're interlined. I put it on. It's really nice and slick inside, so it goes on and off really well. But I am stuck. I think it looks pretty good. If I can get all the scrap bits off. I like everything about it so far. And since this is my experiment in polyester, not real fabrics, plasticky fabrics, I'm kind of playing with the scraps that I have that will keep this look going. So I will be back when I work on it next. Back to arguing with the lining. I pieced in the lining on the back pieces, and I did it really carefully by trying to match up the seams and make sure that the seams on the inside were flat when I pinned in the lining. And I really did fight with it. I did get it to work, and I did get it to float a little bit so it wasn't bunching. But if I ever do another one of these coats, I'm going to order some silk and not touch this polyester stuff with a 10-foot pole. Sewing the lining to the thread crate fabric was another struggle. The black fabric is actually kind of a rubbery feeling texture, like you're trying to sew through a rubber shoe or a rubber ball cap or some elastic. It's horrible stuff, and I do not recommend anyone doing this. So what I'm doing here is I am being really careful to take tiny stitches of my lining, and I am matching as close as I can to the edge of the bias that I put on this piece, because I want my lining to kind of float a little bit, because I didn't put a lining on the front. So I need to make sure that the entire lining is matched around the edges of the armhole and match around the neck. And I'm actually going to, after I sew this second arm and this side, I'm going to do tacking stitches right here at these little points, just to make sure that the lining doesn't float too much and get out of hand. When constructing the cuffs, I wanted to make sure I had a nice stiff cuff. So I used an iron-on double stick interfacing, and I ironed it onto the interfacing and then made sure I stuck the velvet to it. That kept the velvet from feeling like it was flimsy and not held together very well. When I chose to cut out the faux fur, I had to make sure it was on the straight of grain and not on the stretchy side, or it would have been a complete mess to sew together. One of the key tips I have for sewing faux fur is make sure you use lots of pins, especially when you're sewing it to any kind of jersey or other synthetic fabric, because this stuff slides all over the place and will not behave properly. I wanted a really furry cuff, something that had a lot of body to it, and this particular fur isn't very thick. So I doubled up and folded the cuff, both to make it sturdy and to make it fluffier. When constructing the cuff, I actually sewed the raw edge of the cuff to the raw edge of the sleeve, and I whip stitched the whole thing together. As you see me pin this, you will notice that I have eased in the sleeve to the cuff, because the cuff and the sleeve are not exactly the same size. I have turned the cuff to the inside, and there's a little bit of an edge from the outside to the inside. And I am stitching to the lining and to the interlining fabric to make sure this cuff doesn't go anywhere and all the edges are secure. I then turned the sleeve right side out and I sewed the cuffs together so that they have a nice finished edge. I used an 1.5 inch, 2-inch strip. I believe it was an 1.5 inch strip all along the edge of the coat. And I pinned everything together, including the lining. And then I folded it over and hand stitched from the inside. When doing the buttons, one of the first things I did is I marked using chalk, and then I went back and used a thread. And the reason I did that is chalk has a tendency to disappear on velvet. And then I decided where the buttons were going to be and put additional thread marks for the additional buttons. Here I am cutting out the collar in the faux fur, and I will go and sew those two pieces together along the short ends and along that long curve. And then I will first place in the fur to the collar, and then I will hand stitch the dark black jersey to the lining of the coat. And I'm explaining that because it was somewhere right around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning here, and I totally forgot to film any of the rest of the construction of this. Here it is. Made with all scrap material other than the thread crate fabric. And it's stretchy, it's got a lot of room to move, and I think I'm really gonna like this. It's not a heavyweight coat, it's definitely lightweight. Definitely should go over a bodice. This is not something I want to wear out when it's 20 degrees outside. But I think it's got a nice look. It's got the straight front, like that natural form era that I want. So it'll fit really nicely over the skirts, I think. Because of the stretchy material, I'm pretty sure that I'll have all the room that I need to wear it. And it looks pretty cool, actually. And using the vintage buttons, I think just adds a really nice flair. Using the faux fur overcast, I really like. I can make it stand up, or I can lay it flat. Yeah, all scrap stuff. I think it's pretty good. doesn't look quite so much like I haven't brushed it in 4 days. That would look better. Oh my God, I don't know how women put themselves together for videos. I just do them and hopefully I look okay.